what we're doing as a company is we come in for those who are absentees or those who are elderly, we lease their orchards from them. They continue living on the house. They have their little subsidy farm next to them. They have their kids and their grandkids, and they have a place to host. They have that. But who's going to manage the farm itself? That's where we step in. We lease the farm from them. We do a crop share. They get the first amount of kilos that come in off of that. And we say anything that comes above this, well, that's what we'll get for our management fee. That way you have no questions. You know exactly what you're going to get every year. Let me tell you, this has been an absolute lifesaver for all of our 50 clients that we currently manage farms for. And so we manage the farms and we find out who in these villages needs jobs. So we connect the farms that desperately need work done correctly in the right way with villagers who desperately need employment because there's no jobs in these villages. We provide the professional training, we provide the resources for them to be able to do the work, and then we manage the whole thing. The crazy thing is that these Pontic Hills, though they produce 50% of the world's hazelnuts, none of them are farm traceable. There's undocumented, who knows who's working on the land, and they don't know what products are going to go down. If you're a global buyer, those are some question marks you don't want to be buying. Mm-hmm. You want to have traceability. That's very important. And in every other nut product, tree nut product, traceability is paramount. And so what we're doing is we're providing documented, traceable hazelnuts to a global market that's eager for it, providing jobs in villages and solutions for farm owners.
You know, so many questions come to my mind, Ron, when you're sharing this. One is just knowing that in more and more of the world's market, not just in something like nuts, but in so many products, that the ethical supply chain movement, you know, can apply to who is the employees, how they treated, you know, that sort of thing. But here also just the content of a food stuff is so important. And most people don't even think about that. They assume all this is happening, and you're saying, no, don't assume. That's one question. But the big question I've got is when you brought this in, bringing a crop share arrangement, was that new, or were they like, oh yeah, we know what that means, or were they really suspicious? How did they accept the idea?
So originally, this is actually rooted on a lot of years of asking people, asking questions, finding out how things are done. Historically, there had been a crop share percentage system where if someone, you know, was absent or elderly, maybe they would hire someone in the village to be able to come and manage the farm for them. And it was maybe a 50-50 split. And then things got a little bit more expensive and complicated, and it became a 3-to-1 split, and then a 4-to-1 split, and then a 5-to-1 split. And now they're talking 6-to-1 split. The challenge that we saw was that there was always a little bit of frustration or questioning. Did the manager do the right work? Are they performing the right things? Our productivity is going down. What's going on here? And so we're flipping that equation where it's a crop share, but it's a fixed amount crop share. So we'd say the first year per hectare we'll give maybe 200 kilograms. And then the second year we'll give 205 kilograms. And the third year, 210. There's a little bit of incentive we have a contract, a lease contract, but in these parts of the world, a legal lease contract doesn't have the same amount of weight as it might have in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
So we have a legal contract. We get the village chief to sign off on it, that he knows that we're managing for this, and then we talk to the village chief. Are there other farms here? Or are there people here who want jobs? Well, he's become all of a sudden really popular because he's bringing jobs and solutions to his village. So he's happy to sign on that as a witness for the fact that this contract, so there's a social element that holds these contracts in place. And then we add this little bonus every year that they stay with us. And that really reinforces that this is a very solid contract. It's very, very important for us as a company operating in an emerging market like this to cement those contracts in this way. But that crop share with that little bit of a bonus has really built on a historical foundation so people could approach it and understand what it was, but it solved a lot of the challenges that they had with the accusations of how much actually came in or was the right work actually being done. It gives them peace of mind, is saying, okay, we know and you're taking all the risk, but we're saying we take the risk, but we also take the reward.
Yeah, you put sunlight on everything,
Yeah,
and that's I was going to ask you how did, and I still want to hear a little bit more on this, but you already answered some of it. How did you go about establishing trust and credibility? I mean, it's they've been through this something like this before. Nutella came in and worked with them. Others have probably come in and tried to work with them. So I think you're in a bit of a trust deficit to begin with. How did you work through that and come into a place now where they do trust you? You mentioned
yeah,
50 different clients right now. I'm assuming that the goal is more, but as you can manage them. But how did you win the trust?
yeah. You know, the we had been in country for several years, learned language, had talked with a lot of people. Those things helped. Finding early adopters in any new business venture is always that big challenge. And so we worked our tails off in the first year to find our early adopters. Um, and those early adopters, God was gracious. He brought them to us. We worked hard for them. We built solid relationships. At the end of the day, relationship is key. It's all about sitting around. In our part of the world, it's drinking tea. I
Hmm.
had hundreds and hundreds of cups of tea to get those early adopters. Um, but the
Yeah.
fruit of that was that in the second year, those early adopters provided a testimony for others saying, wow, this was an amazing solution. I got my payment. I didn't have to work hard on my orchard. I got to have vacation time. I actually got to go to the beach. I actually was able to spend time with my family who was here, or I didn't have to run around and try to figure out who's going to actually do the work that I'm going to maybe manage and hire it out, which is becoming more and more difficult here. Being able to put all that frustration to bed and being able to earn the same amount of profit or more than they would have been otherwise, man, that second year, it was easier to find clients.
Yeah.
Last year, we actually had to turn away 90% of the people who came knocking on our door asking us to come and manage their farms. Our coffers are full for next year. Our waiting list is absolutely to the maximum. We're saying we're going to bring on 100 acres a year for each of the next 5 years is what our goal is. We found this is kind of the right speed that we can train local people in this work. And so we know that if we had the capacity right now, there's 500,000 farms in this region, the Pontic Hills region. Between 200 and 300,000 of them would sign on with us if we had the capacity for it right now. There's that much demand, and there is nobody else operating in this space.
Amazing.
Um, so it's a huge, huge opportunity and an amazing blessing to the community.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, just economically and even socially, or sociologically, I should say. I know working in another part of the world, not too far from you, it got so bad economically that the men in particular had to move away
Yeah,
for them it was the mothership was Moscow, and they would have to move away just to get jobs to provide for their family back home, thousands of miles away. And
yeah,
sadly, many of them never came back.
yeah,
It was a terrible rip, terrible tearing of the social fabric. So I can understand the demand. It does make a difference. What about from and I know your heart, you're obviously there. We use words like impact and community transformation, wanting to see people blessed, wanting to see families stronger, wanting to see, all of life become better. This is
yeah,
not one
yeah.
dimensional, right? It's incredibly, the word I like is holistic. It touches all
It is.
parts of life. This does.